Sorry. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is our third episode of our Run With It by Smartland. I'm Matt, Marketing Director.
Eric on the Investor Relations team.
And I'm Tom with the Investor Relations team.
And this is our Run With It episode on the coaching app. And let's run with it.
Entrepreneurship is one of our core values. It's really important for us that we surround ourselves with out-of-the-box thinkers. We're full of ideas, but no time to do it. So we thought we'd create a podcast of some of the amazing ideas that come up all the time and let you run with it. Thus the title in this podcast. So the idea for this podcast, you want to talk about how this idea came forth?
So as most people probably experience, there are different types of apps where maybe you can sign up and become an expert in different tech things. You can learn about how to use Photoshop or use other things electronically. Or there's other apps where maybe you can learn, English or Spanish as a second language. But the problem that we've seen, and not just with those types of industries, but other industries as well, there isn't really one app that kind of all encompasses everything. So not just anything that involves a computer, but maybe something that involves sports. Like maybe you want to learn how to become better at baseball or better at golf, or you want to sign your kid up to meet with a coach personally. We've kind of thought of the idea of an app that would be all encompassing and would cover all of these topics, I guess.
Right.
Something like that.
And another idea of where this idea stemmed was, we all have kids that play sports or we've played sports, etc. And there's one coach for 20 kids or 25 kids. And, where do you go if you want to hire someone that's good, that's certified, that has had some success in that specific subject or sport or whatever else, that could either train one-on-one or maybe as another parent, that I have two kids, he may have two kids that want to learn hockey or whatever else, so we could put four of them into a group setting, and as opposed to one-on-one type pricing, it's more of a package deal, and it's 4-on-1 versus team sports, which is 20-on-1. And so on. So to get that additional attention and, again, maybe work out some kinks or just learn something new. So you mentioned tech. We're talking about sports, school, right?
Yeah.
Tutoring.
Musical instruments. Like you want to learn how to play the violin, and there isn't a ton of options out there where to even go to learn.
Right. I mean, to think about it, I don't even know where to go to find, piano teachers or whatever else other than, the musical schools in the area.
Yeah, there's one or two music shops in your neighborhood, maybe, if you can even find them.
Luckily in Cleveland, we do have an awesome arts, music, around University Circle, but you go outside of there, what do you do? I took piano lessons as a kid. I don't know how my mom found my piano teacher.
Right.
And maybe even to do a background check on her. Is there a third party doing this? Luckily she might have been a family friend of my grandmother or something, but I don't know. Hopefully with this app, that's going to be all in one place. They can run background checks. They can have reviews. They can have, a little introductory video of the coach kind of introducing themselves. Here's my specialities. Here's what I like to focus on. And maybe even some drills just to kind of, see what they're like.
Sure.
And that's actually an important thing you mentioned. You talked about how we're here in Cleveland, so maybe it is easy to find a violin professional through the app, and you can meet up with them. But on the other end, if you live in more of a rural area of the country, maybe those things can just be done with videos. So depending on what the subject is, sports is a little harder, but maybe if it's tech or it's a musical instrument or something, you can just do one-on-one, either live or pre-recorded, with a YouTube video or something like that.
Right, you hit on a great point there. It doesn't all have to be in person. If your schedule doesn't allow you to go meet somebody, or let's say you found an awesome coach, but they're in a complete different area of the United States, you can schedule a one-on-one video, and then just live stream it or whatever.
So yeah, what got us really excited about this topic was when we went into prep and talked about there should be an online component and an offline. And even for the coaches, it's a way to show who you are and how you teach and your personality and whatever else, with maybe some giveaway videos or whatever else, or maybe it's a subscription service, etc. for those videos. But then it's like, oh, that guy's cool and I like how he teaches and I want to hire him now, one-on-one or two-on-one, and whatever else. So an online component versus an offline component, and be all encompassing. So whenever anyone needs coaching, right? So that's the difference. This is not a doing app, right? Like Upwork or Fiverr, which we love because it's amazing that we have access to millions of people, talented people out there, with great work, and they do it quick and whatever else, but they don't teach you.
Right.
Right.
Or even like going
They
to
don't
YouTube.
teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like the how-to videos on YouTube. Like I don't know how many times I went there, and like, you know, how many times you have to rewatch it to actually get what they're doing. You know, it's
Right.
like a 5-minute video turns into an hour and a half because you're going back to that one specific 2-second stretch to where, wait, how did you do that again?
Yeah, and
To
that
where this is where they're going to come and show you. They're going to come and teach you and coach you through it. Like my favorite example is basic car maintenance. You know how many people out there take their car to get their oil changed because they don't know how to do it? I'm one of them. I would love to have a guy, you know, a certified mechanic that has a background check on this app saying, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do basic car maintenance, how to change your oil, how to change your air filters.
And I'll come to you.
It'll come to you for my
Yeah,
car,
right.
not his car. This will be my car that he's going to show me how to do this. So next time, I can do it. Save a little bit of money and educate myself on a new
Or
new
how to change a
skill.
tire or whatever.
Exactly.
And some of that stuff's huge, like you said. Like maybe something small, like changing an air filter or something, they can't come to you in person. So maybe they do make either a live or a pre-recorded video about it. But the difference is, like you said, going onto YouTube. Like I've done that for a million different things around my house. I don't know these people if they're professionals at all.
Right.
Some random person decided, I'm going to make a video of how to change an air filter in this car. I don't know if he even knows what he's doing, but I'm just blindly following him because it's a video on YouTube.
Right.
But if you have someone who says, hey, I am a certified mechanic, here's a professional video of how to do it, either live or pre-recorded, I'm going to throw my trust behind that guy much more than the random stranger on YouTube.
So, you know, when I started this job at Smartland, right, so underwriting multifamily apartment buildings, right, again, million how-to videos, million different, but it wasn't our specific type of property. It wasn't our specific investor terms and whatever else. So it was like a lot of learning and a lot of rewinding and a lot of figuring things out on my own, which is great too. But man, if I had a coach available to me that had a lot of experience, that has done it before, that I could pay per hour and say, well, how do you apply it to us specifically? And well, this time it's 2 properties, right, that we want to buy at the same time. So how do you build for 2? And now we're looking at a portfolio of 5. So it's now you got to build this pro forma. And again, it takes a lot of time and energy, and with the right coach, so on the job type trainings and coaches. Again, apps for everything, it's just always fragmented. There are business coaches, there are real estate coaches. If you Google real estate coaches, there's, you know, health coaches and you know, personal development, whatever. But again, they're all fragmented. And just having one app that you can go to and find what you're looking for, to be coached, to be mentored, to add that accountability to it, and whatever else. I think a lot of people need it and want it, and it could be a big thing.
And to me, like, the big draw to this is, like, if you go Google that, and you Google, let's say, a baseball coach, you know, just that basic search, you're going to get all of these random search criteria, you know, all of these random pop-ups that it's like, oh, coach, what, Cleveland Indians coach, you know, historical baseball coaches, like, you know,
Right.
then you refine your search, you know, local baseball coach for kid in Cleveland. That search is going to give you a Facebook ad. It's going to give you a Google definition. You know, there's not going to be a place where it's just all of these different people, and then to book them, and that's what we're solving here. because I've coached. I actually played college baseball. I coached.
I had a
summer
feeling
ball
that was going to come out in
Yeah.
this video, that you're available to coach baseball, but
But like
The first sign up.
I had to go out and find, a place to coach. That's another thing this is solving for the coaches.
Right.
Like it's getting them in front of clients too. Like I can go advertise myself on Facebook and all these places, and then they can see all my fun pictures and stuff because it's personal. But it's like it's not about me coaching. I'd obviously create an ad based around that, but then what? There's no background check.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see all the other teams that I've coached. Like in this place, it's going to have that. Where have you coached before? It's going to do reviews on the coach if they've ever used that before, and have people, create their session through there. It's going to have all of this to where everything is just easily accessible. And then that's the other draw is it could be a coach for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We were saying car maintenance, so you could be how to play poker, how to do video games, because esports is on the rise now. What if there's a coach out there to help me play Call of Duty better? I don't know. It's kind of outlandish and out there, but you never know.
Or I played video games as a kid, so I've been out of touch for like 20 years.
Right.
But if there was a coach that brought me back into a game or two, maybe I would take it up again and have fun.
Yeah, and that's a big thing you mentioned about, we're not only talking about like the clients, but how this is a service for also the professionals. Because maybe for some of them, like you mentioned, you used to coach or you still coach. To some people, this is more of a side job. Like maybe you know how to play the violin, maybe you've done it forever, but you don't do that in your day-to-day job. And obviously, when you sign up with the service, we would have some kind of verification that you're an expert at it, you know how to do it, and you're qualified to teach it. But this way, you can carry on with your regular job, and now you can also get these side jobs to teach people how to do this thing. Or maybe it's not, maybe it's something with tech.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be about the money.
Yeah,
right?
no, exactly.
Like, you
But-
love
but
baseball,
I know a lot
you
of
love golf.
Of course.
It's a way to maybe give back.
But there's
and help
constantly
somebody out.
people talking about, like side hustles, trying to get like that extra income for your
sure.
family, and maybe you are a professional at something, but you just don't know how to utilize it.
Right.
Exactly. Like I know how to coach baseball, but I don't know where to find people to coach.
Yeah, think about Uber. It's just like that.
Exactly.
There are people out there that make Uber their full-time job, but I'm sure there's people like us that are working 9-to-5 job, and they're like, you know what, I need to make an extra buck or
plenty.
two. Let me go Uber from 6 to 9 p.m. and make a little bit extra cash. That's exactly what this app is going to do for that person that has a high skill in anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really, really exciting about this idea is that there's no question that there's millions of people that that demand something like this, and millions of people that would supply this, right?
Yeah.
So it's how do you connect them, right? It's how do you build up that supply and demand. So Uber does it, right, like city by city, and they just keep expanding and investing, and it's city by city, but they do such an amazing job of creating that supply and demand at the same time. How do you do that? How do you create this supply and demand at the same time, like nationally?
Yeah, like what's the incentive
Or do you do this by market, right, as a launch?
Probably be the easiest way to start.
Maybe there's
one
some
market at a
research
time,
on,
test markets.
maybe there's even research on like what is the most highest like researched coach or like most requested type of
That's a
coach.
great idea.
Sure, yeah.
It's a great
Like
idea.
I'm sure, like and I come back to like tech. People who maybe been out of the workforce for a while, just getting into the workforce, or maybe they are inexperienced in just basic technology stuff. And I know there's already services out there like that, but that could be one thing to start with in addition to everything else. Stuff that people find very important, not just for fun, but for professional growth as well.
And a lot of scraping, I would imagine, right? So, I mean, to build the business side of things, I could see where you could scrape LinkedIn and invite, people with 20 years sales experience to train on sales, right? Or real estate to help with real estate. And how do you find them? How do you get the supply built? I would think is important to get them on that website and then start growing the demand. But again, it's still something that you have to do at the same time. Let's talk about economics. So again, a couple ideas came up from our pre-prep, but great ideas, exciting ideas. So what does it cost? what is if I'm a parent, you know, on a budget, the sports are expensive these days as it is, but definitely wanna help them, or with school, etc. What does this cost?
I definitely think it's to me it's going to be a little bit different than Uber. You know, Uber is based on how far you're traveling. You know, I think it's going to be really based on the coach, or what kind of skill they're offering, based on also competition within that specific skill or what they're coaching. You know, me, if this was my first time using the app, I'd make it super competitive and very, let's say cost effective for somebody to hire me until I build up a reputation.
Right.
Get some reviews and get some things.
Well, you see that on Upwork, right?
Right.
Somebody with the most credibility that has spent, 10,000 hours build and whatever else, they're more money than the ones that are first time or whatever else.
And different professionals could obviously, and I don't know if you want to like open it up to like the professionals picking their rates, like someone who is a full-time coach, like that's just they're like an absolute professional, as opposed to someone who does it on the side, doesn't have as much experience, but is still qualified to teach.
Right.
Maybe they could pick their own rates, or we put them in different, or whoever runs with it could put them in different classes.
Right.
Yeah. And then you could also think about like dividing it up, where like maybe if it's online topics where you don't have to leave the house, you can watch videos either pre-recorded or live. Maybe that's more subscription. You pay a monthly fee and you get unlimited access to the stuff.
Right.
As opposed to when you meet with someone in person, that's clearly more time, that's more effort, that's going to cost a little bit different. You can't expect a monthly fee to cover all that.
Right.
But so maybe there's different levels that you join. I don't know.
So we talked about a couple things. One is a subscription service, right? So a subscription service, we pay whatever, 10 or 20 bucks a month as a family, and we can log in and see pre-recorded videos and content, etc. Then we talked about there could be on-demand classrooms, right? That we may limit 5 people or 10 people and have a predetermined schedule, right? That you can sign up for and maybe pay per class. And then we talked about one-on-ones and three-on-ones and whatever else. But definitely believe in the economy sets the prices.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the app should set the prices. I think if I want to charge 50 bucks an hour to help somebody and somebody else wants to charge 100, let them do it. And the economy and people will
Right.
either
It
pay
sets
it or not.
competition.
And let the
Create-
parents or let the person who is getting that service say yes or no. There could be 5 different, like let's say golf, for example. There could be 5 different swing coaches in the area. This one's at 50, the highest one's at 250. Why is he at 250? Oh, because he's actually an amateur pro golfer that's played on the PGA Tour, and he is technically a pro. I'm going to pay 250 to go to a pro.
And it depends on how
me
interested
at the
you are.
$50, just trying to make a few extra bucks.
And that's the thing. It depends on how interested you are. If you're like, oh, I really want to learn, this subject, I'm going to pay the $250. Or like, oh, I just kind of want to learn it as like a hobby for fun. I don't want to pay $250.
Right.
Like, yeah, no, I'd go pay the $50 or $25 because it's not that important to me, but it's still something I want to do.
And we also talked about a credit system. That was really interesting. So as opposed to setting dollars, that we made it credit based, meaning that video's 1 credit, that classroom is 5 credits,
Right.
one-on-one is 80 credits, just to, where families can pre-buy bundled credits and then allocate it per members of the family for different products and services. So that was a really good idea. And again, what would the app make? Right? So obviously any type of subscriptions and whatever else, I think the app would take 100% of the subscriptions, because again, coaches create content and videos to promote themselves, to
Right.
promote additional products and services, and I would think that's the whole point, right? Is to give something away, but when you give a little bit away and people need and want more, they're willing to pay.
Well, then let's say this, like as me as a coach, and let's say I made a video for infielding or anything baseball, like pitching wise.
Right.
And let's say it got every credit it might say. Let's say it's a one credit, but that could
If
be
you do
however
credit.
much. Right.
If it's
Yeah.
subscriptions and they get access to the videos.
Right, but let's say that my specific video
Mm-hmm.
has 100,000 views, and people are like flocking to the website because this is the only place this video is. Then how's that beneficial to me? Because I just went and spent time, made this video. I'm still technically coaching people.
That's a good point. Maybe it is.
What if
paid
it's
per
like
video or something, or view or something. Yeah, like kind of like how YouTube pays you when you have
They
a
have
certain amount of
ads.
views.
They
I know
have
it's
ads.
totally different, but I'm just saying. But
This wouldn't
we
have
would have
ads.
no way. I don't.
no, but the subscription could partially pay for that kind of stuff. Because if you do a pre-recorded, like I'm teaching people how to change their tire, I just pre-recorded a video how to change a tire. That's it. It doesn't really benefit me because people aren't coming to knock on my door for other services. I'm 3 states away from them. They don't care. But they watch that video, a million times.
So you're
all these
saying
different
like
people.
music content,
Yeah,
right? Like
or something.
Pandora pays
Yeah.
a per view
Something
of,
like that.
of
'cause
songs and videos.
If my skill is just being a mechanic but I live super far away from everybody and I recorded all these videos of super easy things you could do at home and you watch these videos, I would expect to make something off that.
So whoever runs with it has to figure out that algorithm,
Right,
that
and
percentage of
Right.
hey, out of our subscription fees that we charge, whatever it is, let's just say $10, that 5 of it gets
Yeah.
allocated to the content creators,
Yeah,
and
something.
then it's a percentage of views.
Yeah, because if this video changing a tire gets 10 views in a month and this one gets 500 views in a month, 2 separate videos, one is just better than the other. The 500 ones would clearly make something off of that.
Right,
than the
and that would
5
definitely
view
incentivize people to create better content.
Yeah, explain it more
better
clearly.
content and create the
Yeah.
content to begin with.
Exactly.
Because again, if you're creating content just for self promotion, somebody may or may not, create that content.
Mm-hmm.
Versus incentivizing them, then now they're doing an amazing job.
Exactly.
Because they want that video watched 1,000
They're no
times.
longer using their cell phones to film some stuff, and the angle's better. You can actually understand what they're trying to explain to you, as opposed to like the not so good videos.
And the app could actually have an approval process, right? Like Apple,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's
that
huge.
This video is good enough for our audience, or it's not good enough.
No, that's huge. Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you have people paying for this service, they're gonna want good content. I'm not gonna
Or-
pay for a really bad
Yeah.
video.
Or it's like
Sure.
maybe it is self promotion at start, and then we see that video just get so many views. Like as the creator of this app, and then we reach out to that coach. Hey, do you mind if we buy the rights to that video and place it on our database of just videos that people can subscribe to or buy? And then that's how we pay that person. Instead of it's like every view, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, something like that.
To where it's like we bought the rights for it for a certain amount of time, and then it's on,
Yeah.
not us, but whoever runs with this.
So we talked a little bit about coach certification, right? So how do we know somebody can teach golf or can teach calculus or can teach real estate deal flow, right? So or underwriting. So how do we do that background and what's the cutoff, right?
Yeah.
So Uber's very great at it's got to be a car from this year on. It's got to be clean. It's got to be this and that. Your background
yeah.
needs to be perfect.
Yeah, and you have
et
to-
You
cetera.
can't have so many
Can't have
points
bad
on
reviews,
your license. You
yeah.
can't have too many tickets or whatever.
Exactly.
I think the
exactly.
most difficult thing would be like the physical stuff. Like, how do I know someone's good at baseball unless they've like played professionally or they played minor league or something? Or even if they played
But
for
maybe
a
that's
team, maybe
it.
they weren't
So
good. Like
maybe that's it. So
Yeah.
what would be the minimum? I'm just thinking as a
Yeah.
dad. Like what
Yeah.
what would I want if I'm paying somebody $50 an hour, or again in a group maybe
Yeah.
it's $20 each. But anyway, it's, that I'm going to put with my kids to teach them something. What would I want? What minimum experience would I want that person to have? Is it high school varsity? Is it
Right.
D1 hockey? Is it professional? Right. So
And that's true. If
what's the cutoff?
Yeah, if someone did high school varsity to them could have been 30 years ago. I don't know if they've kept up with it. I mean,
That's a great
that
point.
can't
That's
can't
it.
just be one. There's got to be other qualifications. I think with some other stuff, it's easier. Like you said, like calculus. Like you could make them take tests,
Sure.
pre-approval tests. Like I know there are tutoring services out there, and to sign up as a professional, you don't necessarily have to have a degree, but they make you take a series of tests to prove that you kind of know this stuff, and it's like all timed and kind of trying to make sure that you're not cheating and stuff like that.
Sure.
So those would be easier. I
That's
think
pretty
the hardest
rigorous.
stuff.
I'm thinking from the app creators.
Yeah.
That's rigorous,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you got to create the test, you got to get the answers, you got to.
Right.
Are there third party
Maybe it's
companies
certain-
that can certify and?
Could be.
Maybe depending on each skill or whatever is being taught, that's where we come up with a series of questions that like will help whoever's reading their profile or whatever to base their decision. When was the last time you coached? What?
Yeah.
What? Did you play any? Collegiate or in high school or whatever? What year? So then you can do that. Just kind of get your decision.
Yeah, in sports, I personally think I would want someone who played in college.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right? That means they were the best in high school at something, right?
right.
So to me, I'd want to know that they played for a good college, and that means they were the best in high school.
And I think
to
that's
me,
really on the coaches too, though. Like they're gonna sell themselves. You
Right.
know, like for
but
me.
but again, calculus besides the test,
Yeah.
because again. And by all means, I want the best coaches and whatever else. But is taking calculus in college and getting an A in it, is that the
Yeah.
minimum?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Or
enough criteria?
or do they have to pass a test?
And maybe that's something you could put on like a coach's profile where they took it in college and just got an A, and that's their qualification. Or someone who's like, hey, I teach this at a college level, or I teach it in high school. Those people would be much more appealing than someone who just passed the test.
Sure.
Like maybe we show their test scores. Like this guy got 100% on this prerequisite test that we made them take. This guy got 85%.
Right.
Something like that. And then that kind of justifies what they're charging. I don't
The guy
know,
that
something like
It's
that.
going to come over and show you how to change a tire. What's his certification?
Yeah, and that's true. And I know like you need to have licenses.
Is he
to
a
do-
licensed mechanic?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
Will a licensed mechanic want to do this?
maybe it's like a side job.
I'm just wondering. I mean, even if it's whatever, $50 for the labor or
Yeah.
$70, will they want to do it? You think?
And that's what I was thinking more about. Certain things would be good with videos. So either he does live or it's pre-recorded. If he makes this video of him changing a tire and he's really good at explaining it and he gets paid per view every month,
As well as
his
the
normal
one-on-ones, right?
job, yeah, you'd want to make a good video because he gets paid for
Sure.
maybe recording one video one time, or maybe he makes a bunch of videos for a bunch of different stuff.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
that's an incentive to
And-
keep making good stuff.
And that's what I think the incentive of this is. Like nowadays everybody is looking for that extra way to make that extra buck. To where this isn't a full-time job. It can be a part-time. It can be a once a month thing. But as long as this is drawing in the people looking for this specific skill, I think the coach is going to be on it in an instant.
How do you certify a sales trainer?
Right.
You somehow have to prove past deals. No, like maybe you could find proof of what deals have you worked on in the past.
Yeah,
you have examples.
because being in sales for 10 years is not a certification.
No,
by
it's
any
definitely not.
means.
But if you're looking
Alright.
for like a deal flow analyst, maybe they need to show.
Or some kind of award where they were number one or
Yeah.
top 3 in the company or whatever else. To me, that's
Yeah,
a
it's huge.
bare minimum. I mean, but if they've gone through certifications of specific sales trainers, that would be the added plus and credibility. Just trying to go down the list. Poker.
Yeah, I was gonna say poker's a little tough one.
Poker
Unless you
or
won the World
or
Series.
any other video games or
Total
whatever.
winnings.
Yeah, right.
The highest winning game. Hey, mine's $50.
Now, here's a question.
Was it luck? Was it luck or skill? Right?
It was-
Poker's
So-
50-50, they say. So
I have a question. Like places like Upwork or other companies like that, where you're kind of hiring freelancers, do they have a qualification process? Like, can anybody just sign up and say, "I'm an expert at Photoshop, hire me"? So examples like companies like Upwork, and I don't know how they pre-screen professionals because they have a variety of services. You can have a video editor professional, or it's just someone who's really good at Photoshop. How do you prove you're really good at Photoshop aside from just do you just send them photos? Like, hey, I'm really good at it. I know certain programs you can, take classes and get kind of like a certification, like I'm certified in Photoshop. But I feel like that's a little harder, and that's maybe on services like that. That's how you get away with charging. I'm going to charge $5 for this job because I don't have any proof that I'm good at it. I'm going to charge $200 for this job because here's all of my proof that I'm good at it.
Right.
So maybe certain things don't necessarily need a ton of pre-screening. It's just
you hit it.
But
left out
maybe,
for that.
but maybe per your point earlier, maybe that is an investment of this app for its credibility and so on, is to go out and create these tests.
Yeah.
Whether it's, again, probably not in-house, but then they can go out and find a Photoshop certified person that they know is definitely, and they work in it for the last 20 years, etc. They can pay people to create these tests, right? And create that, background certification and tests and so on.
And maybe it is just professionals only. So it might just be a harder time finding some professionals like poker or video games. Maybe you do need to have somebody who does have something in their background that proves they're good at it.
Well, I think you said it before too. Is you said proof. They show proof. Like when I go to Upwork and I hire, let's say a designer, before I even say yes, you're hired, give me examples of your work.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what this app is going to provide to these people looking
Not
for
only
that
that,
skill.
but then eventually a review system, a rating system,
That's
whatever
huge.
else. And again, I believe in the global economy dictating prices and people's value and whatever else. The one point I worry about is, okay, I'm going to hire this amazing coach at $80, and I know the app takes 20%, for example. I'm going to negotiate with him on every future, I'll hire him for the first hour, but all the rest I'll pay him $50 cash, on the side or whatever. How could this app maker prevent that? Besides making it part of their contract and agreement, and if they find out, they could, boot them from the app. What other type of checks and balances, I guess, or incentives could they offer coaches to make sure that everything goes through the app?
I was thinking like maybe even the coaches get rated and like a point total to where however many sales or however many times their videos watched or how many times they actually go out and schedule a meeting with one-on-one or a group session, that gives their point total, so then their 20% then goes down to 18.
Or just hours worked, like
Yeah,
Upwork,
like
Upwork.
Exactly, it's all logged.
Because you can, and that would definitely incentivize them
right.
to
Yeah.
get their hours up as high as possible in
Yeah.
person, because then they're at the top of my list.
Yeah, because if you keep meeting people offline,
if I sorted by most hours coached, to me that shows credibility. It shows that they do this all the time, and if I'm the coach, I'm incentivized now to be at the top of the list or get as many hours through the app as possible. If they don't log it through the app, they can never be sorted as a top contributor.
Yeah, and maybe you make functions on the app that make it very intuitive for everybody. So there's a scheduling section. So if you're hired, it's like
Great
bam, it's
point.
added to your personal calendar. You get reminders, or it shows calendar times that are blocked off for the coach, and it helps the coach keep themselves organized. And also for tracking payments, I'm going to assume everyone's a good American citizen and they're paying their taxes. So, if they're earning 1099 income, you have to claim that at the end of the year.
Sure.
So like I know Uber and other companies, they'll send you like tax forms at the end of the year. Here's how much you made, that kind of stuff. So that kind of incentivizes them to keep it all organized. Because if you're getting paid in cash, you have to write it down and keep track of it. It gets confusing. Again, assuming they're paying
And you
taxes.
could offer them incentives, right? So like the top, realtors earn a higher percentage of the deal than ones that don't have a lot of deals, right? So it's almost like, okay, we take 20%, the app maker, right, is keeping 20%, but if you log 1,000 hours, we'll go down to 18. You log 2,000 hours, we'll go down to 16 for you.
Yeah.
You log 10,000 hours, we'll go down to 15.
Right.
So they're trying to rack that up, because as opposed to one client that does that, the greater eventually, percentage-wise, you're making a lot more across the board than that one customer is worth. Nor do you want to lose all this credibility and time and whatever else that you've spent by getting caught. Right?
Yeah, you just mentioned incentives. I just remembered something with a company like Uber. They'll incentivize their drivers to give them extra services. So if you've been a driver for this long, you could get like a discount on getting your oil changed or getting your tires rotated. They'll offer coupons in the app and things like that. Like the more you use it, the more you can earn stuff,
Love
or
it.
you can
Love it.
cash in. You know, like the app holds the money before they pay you out every 2 weeks or whatever. So you could cash in some of your money for like a discounted gift card. Like you cash in $40 for a $50 Amazon gift card or something like that. I think they offer stuff like
Right.
that, and that
So I
could be
think-
another
Right.
incentive. Like you're getting all these
great.
bonuses.
Like the app could do that, or the
Yeah.
coach themselves can offer something like that.
Yeah.
You know, let's say, like to me, I was just thinking as everyone was talking is like, what if there's a batch of coaches that want to throw like a clinic together, but they can't get enough kids? Bam, here's our app. They create this ad with all of these coaches that you see all. Let's say that's 3 of them, and they just want to do a baseball clinic. It's pitching, catching, and then the rest is hitting, fielding, outfield, whatever. And it's 3 coaches throwing this together. Here's all their background. We need 20 kids. You know, they're missing at like 10 more. Bam. You know, it's all right there. But how do you incentivize that? Oh, you know, let's say the last 5 kids to sign up, you know, it's a group special. They get it for free or something, you know, whatever that may be. Or like your 3rd session is automatically free, but this is offered by the coach. Then maybe even within the app we could do that, you know, just to incentivize people to use it. Hey, you sign up for a week trial, your 5th one's free. Or you sign up for a week session, your 5th one's free.
Yeah, or
Right.
maybe they could do like a temporary promotion. Like you could have it built into the app where this coach wants to do 20% off for the next 2 weeks if you hire me for whatever. And obviously they're getting paid per job, and the app is taking off a percentage per job. So, the coach would be losing out. But again, if you're doing this promotion, that might incentivize people to join and
Right.
use your services. And then going forward, they like you, they want to hire you again. Just
Yeah,
something like that.
right.
You fill your, like a coach, let's say you fill your week, the app will say, on your last one, there's no fee to the app.
Yeah.
Because you just did 5 back to back to back,
Right.
within a certain amount of time,
Right.
within however many days. Like,
Right.
or you schedule 5
These
in
are
one
great
day.
ideas. They're great ideas.
Bam, free management fee right there.
So let's talk about the last topic. How do you make this a verb? Right? So whenever we need something, quickly done in the office and whatever else, we're like Upwork it, right? Or obviously Uber it, etc.
I've been saying that for years. Like how
Sell
did
something,
how
eBay
did
it.
Google become like I'm gonna go Google it? That's huge. That's
All
just,
right. Or how-to videos, YouTube
Yeah.
it, done. Like everybody hears it.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
how do we make
You
what-
YouTube it. Yeah, exactly. Or I'm gonna go Uber there.
So-
How do you? No one. No offense, Lyft, but no one says I'm gonna go Lyft there. Even if they're using Lyft, you still say it.
I was
You
just
still
gonna
say
say,
Uber.
I was just gonna say that. I'm calling an Uber and I'll go to
Yeah.
Lyft.
And yeah, maybe
It's
that's
still-
it. Maybe it's because Lyft was already a verb. And Uber, like that's a new word you just started using. But
Right.
Lyft, you're like, oh, I associate that with working out.
Right, yeah,
That's the
that's-
key there. You got to come up with a name that maybe is not.
And it's not catch a
It-
cab, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
do people even say that and order an Uber? Do they say,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
catch
Some
a
people
cab?
might say, or they might call a car, but that just sounds fancy. Like I'm calling a car service.
Calling a car service. So anyway,
Verb,
what, do we have any ideas? Should we ask the audience to submit some ideas, or
Right, maybe it's just the name. Like
Exactly.
it's the app name. Whatever you're gonna call it. Like
yeah?
I
So
don't know. It could just be
so
like
again,
a made-up word that just sounds good.
the whole point, the whole point behind what we're talking about is the coaching, right? Is the
Yeah.
education aspect? Is the not show me how, but teach me how, right? So maybe it's an educate, teach.
It's called Teach Me.
Yeah. Go teach
Coach
me
me.
it. Maybe it's teach me it. So anyway, this video's on our blog. This video's on YouTube. When you build this $1 billion app and whatever else, don't forget who gave you this awesome idea. But if you have any other ideas or questions or comments, or you figured out that perfect verb, by all means, leave it in our comment section. And
or email us at marketing@smartland.com. I love hearing what people have to say. If we did a good job or if you thought it was a great idea, especially with this one. give us a name, give us what you're thinking. We will definitely love to hear about it.
And what was really cool was in our prep meeting, at the end of the prep meeting, none of us wanted to give this idea away.
Yeah,
So
I know,
that's
I wanted to run with it.
I want to be
That's
on
how.
this app.
But that was a magical type moment,
Yeah.
and that's why we're doing this, is to again hopefully create great content with great ideas, and someone with time and that can go out and raise some money to build this tech and app and build the supply and demand at the same time, because it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of money to do this. Good luck, and if we can help in any way or whatever else, I'd love to hear from you. So peace out.
Run with it.
Run with it.